The reptile hobby is near and dear to my heart, but if we don't want it to go away, we have to do a whole bunch better. So today, let's go over the top 5 most toxic, disgusting things in this hobby that are a giant threat. My name's Adam, this is Diamond, you're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles, stick around. So this is kind of a serious one, but let's not get too serious about it. Let's keep this light. Basically what I'm talking about, the things that I would consider toxic, disgusting, the things that are threats to this hobby that present us in a negative light and are the reason why a whole bunch of laws are being tried to put in place to stop us from doing what we love to do. So let's just start it off with number 5, sensationalizers. Now, I believe of all the YouTubers and content creators out there, most of us are really good for the reptile hobby. Most of us do what we're supposed to do, and we don't sensationalize snakes and make them look like villains in order to get views. Some of us do. It is selfish, it's disgusting, and I get it. I know that there's a creator out there making over $1 million a year on one platform, and this person antagonizes snakes to bite them and make them look evil. This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Now, a snake striking or biting someone isn't always bad. For example, one of my favorite creators, Brian Barchuk, this guy would not put in the sensationalist category. Sure, he'll show you how an egg-eating snake that has no teeth will strike at you and things like that, but he's not egging the snake on in order to do that. He's showing you that this snake, although it doesn't have teeth, is willing to strike. Now that's different. They're not going to name any names here because what's the point of giving these people more views? But if you're antagonizing a reticulated python to bite the crap out of you, this is not good. If you have a king cobra that's about to bite you and you just barely get out of the way of it, this is not good. You're making these snakes look like they're aggressive. They're not. This is terrible. This whole thing about, making retics especially, and that's what we see a lot, reticulated pythons, Burmese pythons, all these animals, oh, it's gonna strike me and eat me or whatever. Like, it's just silly goose stuff, and it's just really bad for this hobby, sensationalizing snakes to make them look like monsters or make them look more aggressive than what they are, because snakes are not aggressive. They're defensive. So to get this reaction, you have to scare the snake in order to make it act like that. So you're just traumatizing an animal so you can look like a tough guy and then get a bunch of views. Meanwhile, now everyone's looking at us like we're idiots because we have these scary animals, and why would you have one of those as a pet? So I don't like these people. It's not good for the hobby. Number 4, know-it-alls. This one I think is more annoying than anything else, but just the infighting makes us look stupid. There are specific groups that are worse than others, for sure, especially on Facebook, but I think that what's really great is there's these new platforms, Herp Social, for example, that are coming alive, and it's people that are just reptile people, and it's not really being infiltrated yet by these know-it-alls. But the problem is the know-it-alls also are reptile people. I'll give you some great examples, and I think that maybe I've seen more of this than most people because I have a platform. I'm very lucky that, people know who I am, and oftentimes there's people who know more than I do. I wouldn't consider myself an expert on most species. Sure, things like bearded dragons, leopard geckos, yeah, I would consider myself an expert in terms of how to actually take care of them. But if there's other animals that I don't know too much about or am not an expert on, or someone knows more than me, the know-it-alls are the ones that are going to tell you and make sure that you know they know more than you. These people are annoying. These people are a cancer. I want them away from me as far as possible. It's different to say, hey, Adam, I noticed that you keep a BCI, a boa, in an enclosure that's only 2 feet high. You should do at least 3 feet high because they're a semi-arboreal animal. I don't know if you'd ever consider that, yada, yada, yada. This is a real life thing that happened to me, and now I have my boa in an 8 foot by 4 foot by 3 foot tall enclosure, okay? This was a good guy. However, coming down on whoever it is, if it's in a group or on a video, hey, Chihuahua geckos and crested geckos and gargoyle geckos have very similar diets and very similar care. Actually, one comes from the northeast peninsula. Okay, great. Yeah, you know more than I do. I get it. But what I said wasn't wrong. You just added to it. And because I didn't add what you added, you think you know more than me, which maybe you do, but who cares? At the end of the day, if you're correcting someone for doing something wrong or giving them an idea or constructive criticism, that's fine. But if you're fighting about nonsense, you look like idiots. We have to stop doing this. Also, pronunciating Latin names. If you try to pronunciate a Latin name and some, well, actually, it's pronounced like, Just walk away from that person. They weren't hugged enough as a child. Number 3, fight channels. So these are these channels I talked about a while ago. I'm not going to name any of them because they just get shut down and then reopen under a new name. So what's the point? The big one back in the day was VerseTube. It's gone now. You don't need to search for it. But this was the original one, I think, or the original people. And basically what they do is they take a cube, an acrylic cube that you can see through, and they'll put like a scorpion and a tarantula and a mouse and a bullfrog and a snake in there, and then they all fight. And it's like, who can last? But this is disgusting. Now, if you're thinking, oh, well, in nature, okay, well, in nature, are they put in a 1 cubic foot box and they can't get away from each other? No. In the wild, the mouse can run away from the snake, all right? And oftentimes they get away. That's how nature works. If it was that easy, then there would be no mice anymore. Like, that's how that works. So this is disgusting. You're torturing these animals. Let's imagine that I put you into a box, a 3-meter box, cubic box. You can't get away. There's a ceiling. There's no way to get away. And you're in there with a grizzly bear and a pit viper and a tiger and a caribou. How's that going to go for you? How are you going to feel right before you die? Because that's what's going to happen, by the way. There's no way that you can fend these things off. Just like the scorpion in these videos can't fend off the bullfrog. That thing's going to die. And yeah, it's going to sting the crap out of the frog and hurt the frog. So everyone gets hurt. And it's entertainment for who? Psychos? Like, this is crazy. To actually hurt living animals is disgusting. It's wrong. You need to be out of this hobby. Please go. Number 2. Oh, let's ruffle some feathers. FWC, Peta, and other organizations just like that. Do not get it wrong. These organizations do not care about animals at all. 0% don't give a flying crap about any animal on the face of the earth. They care about money and influence. That's all they care about. Because if you cared about animals, FWC, I'm looking at you. And we're talking about the Holy Thursday Massacre, where they walked into a guy's collection. They said, oh, I'm going to kill all of your snakes. The guy said 45.5 times, that's a boa, that's legal, don't kill it. And what did? They killed it. And they knew that they were going to do it, and they did it anyway, and then they pretended that they didn't know, but they did it anyway. Because they're sadists and pieces of trash. I know that this video is a little bit downtrodden and not my normal, like, haha, uppity, but at the end of the day, stuff is really important. And I didn't make a whole video on that FWC thing that happened a couple months ago, because everybody else did. There's no point. There's a lot of videos out there if you want to watch, if you're not really sure what I'm talking about. There's hundreds of videos at this point. Florida Fish and Wildlife. It's in the name. You're supposed to care about the wildlife, but you don't. And really, I'm not even talking about wildlife, but just animals in general. And anybody who goes into a career with FWC, you'd think they care about animals. So how can they so heartlessly, with smiles on their face, take a nail gun and then torture these animals? Like, you're killing these beautiful animals. I just don't understand it. So if you're going to euthanize animals. Don't take a nail gun and then execute them. Disgusting. People are disgusting. Peta, you're no better, and there's other organizations too, but let's not make this video 100 years long. Let's move on. Number 1, neglectors and abusers. Now, obviously, we did another video you can watch right here about Slithers Incorporated. This is, there's a whole bunch of Slithers business names, so make sure if you're gonna throw hate, it's to the right people, right? I'm talking about Samson and Cass. Those are the people who own that place. I did a whole video on it, but basically, in general, people that neglect their animals, you walk into someone's collection and there's just feces piled up. They haven't eaten in a while. They're skinny. They're overfed. They're obese animal. Like, whatever it is, if you're not taking care of animals properly and you don't know, and then someone tells you, so you do know, and then you still do nothing, that's what I'm talking about. Everybody makes mistakes. It's fine. Just like Hannah Montana said, right? So you can't get mad at everybody for doing something wrong, right? For example, you have a crested gecko in a 12 by 12 by 12, right? It's too small for an adult crested gecko. Get a bigger enclosure, okay? But if someone tells you that and says, hey, you can't have your pair of cresties in this tiny enclosure, and then you just say, oh, I'm going to do it anyway, well, then that's what I'm talking about. You know, if you're giving the wrong diet to an animal, oh, you never feed your bearded dragon greens. Oh, well, I'm telling you to. No, it's fine. He's been fine. Yeah, well, you don't know that. And also he's going to die a premature death. Or, of course, having thousands of reticulated pythons, letting them die, decay, feces pile up, literally bones in the enclosures because they've been dead for so long without you noticing. That is also it too. So abusers and neglectors are the worst of the worst, most toxic. All 5 of these things we need to get out of the hobby. out of the hobby. Some of them are annoyances and some of them will actually destroy the hobby, because you're going to get these organizations who make these laws and they're going to say, oh, that's what's going on over there? Well, everybody is going to be in this group. We're going to paint it with a broad brush and we're going to start outlawing these animals, or animals in general. So let's not do that. And if you don't know, Spain, I don't know if it actually went through, but they're trying to outlaw everything that isn't a hamster, goldfish, or dog or cat, basically. And I would hate to see that happen in North America or Europe. So let's not do that. Let me know in the comment section below what your biggest toxic thing that is in the hobby that I didn't mention in the video. And please hit like and subscribe if you like this video. It really does help more than you could ever know. And a special thanks to the Patreon supporters. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch, one-on-ones. Those have been super fun. All that for as little as $1 a month. That's it, because we do videos on Mondays and Thursdays. That means I'll see you in the next one.